Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the English podcast for listening and speaking. I'm Brian.
And I'm Emily. We are so thrilled to have you joining us today for another exciting episode. How are you doing, Brian?
I'm doing great, Emily. I just spent 3 hours trying to fix my printer yesterday. It was refusing to print anything, just blinking lights at me. It was like having a full-blown argument with my computer.
Oh no, the classic printer saga. I totally know that feeling. It's like these machines have a mind of their own sometimes, isn't it? 1 minute they're working perfectly, the next they're acting like a teenager who doesn't want to do their chores.
Exactly. It made me think, how much we rely on technology and computers every single day, from that stubborn printer to our smartphones. They're just everywhere. And that, dear listeners, is exactly what we're going to talk about today.
That's right. Today's episode is all about technology and computers in daily life and English learning. We're going to dive deep into the digital world that surrounds us, explore some really useful vocabulary, and of course, give you tons of practical tips on how you can use all this amazing tech to supercharge your English learning journey.
Supercharge. I love that word, Emily. It means to make something much more powerful or effective. So get ready to supercharge your English with us. We're going to talk about everything from buying a new computer, which can be a bit confusing, even for native speakers, I promise you, to explaining tricky tech terms to someone who's totally new to computers.
Plus, we'll share our favorite apps and websites for learning English, discuss the exciting, and sometimes a little bit scary, future of artificial intelligence, or AI and technology in general. And we'll have some fun language tips, including common tech verbs, useful expressions, and even some prefixes like mega and giga.
We'll also tell you a mini-story about the history of computers, how they started, who the big names were, and how far we've come. It's a fascinating journey.
So if you've ever felt lost in a conversation about Wi-Fi, or struggled to describe what your smartphone does, or just want to learn how to use technology to become more fluent in English, then this episode is definitely for you. We promise to make it fun, clear, and packed with useful information.
That's our goal. No more feeling like a tech dinosaur. A tech dinosaur, by the way, is someone who doesn't understand or use new technology very well. We don't want you to be a tech dinosaur.
Not at all. We want you to feel confident and comfortable talking about technology in English. And who knows, maybe by the end of this episode, you'll even be able to fix your own printer, Brian.
Ha! Don't push it, Emily. Let's just say I'll stick to talking about it. But first, let's get started with our core dialogue. We're going to imagine a situation that many of us face, buying a new computer. It's a great way to learn lots of practical vocabulary. Are you ready?
Absolutely. Let's get shopping.
All right, so imagine you're in a computer store. You've been using your old laptop for years, and it's finally, it's basically given up. It's super slow. It freezes all the time, and the battery lasts about 10 minutes. Sound familiar?
Oh, too familiar. My old one was like that. It would make this loud whirring noise like a tiny airplane trying to take off inside. So, you walk into a store and a salesperson approaches you. Let's role play this. I'll be the helpful salesperson, and you, Brian, you're the customer, ready to upgrade.
Perfect. Okay, here we go. Excuse me, I'm looking to buy a new computer. My old one is just obsolete.
Obsolete. That's a fantastic word to start with, Brian. Listeners, obsolete means something that is no longer produced or used. It's out of date. Like an old flip phone or a floppy disk, it's basically useless now.
Exactly. So my old laptop is totally obsolete. It can barely open a web page these days.
I understand completely, sir. We hear that a lot. So what kind of computer are you looking for? A desktop computer, a laptop, or perhaps a tablet?
I'm leaning towards a laptop, actually. I need something portable because I travel a lot for work. And I need something that's pretty powerful, My current one just can't keep up.
I see. Powerful and portable. Excellent. So let's talk about what makes a computer powerful. The first thing we usually look at is the processor. You might hear it called the CPU, which stands for Central Processing Unit. Think of the processor as the brain of the computer. It does all the calculations and runs the programs.
The brain. That makes sense. So a faster brain means a faster computer, right?
Precisely. The speed of the processor is measured in gigahertz or gigahertz. For a powerful laptop, you'd want a processor with a high gigahertz number, maybe 2.5 gigahertz or higher. Brands like Intel Core i7 or AMD Ryzen 7 are considered very good.
Okay, processor, the brain, got it. What else makes a computer fast?
Good question. Next up is RAM. That's RAM, which stands for Random Access Memory. RAM is like the computer's short-term memory. It's where your computer temporarily stores data that it's actively using right now. The more RAM you have, the more applications you can run smoothly at the same time without your computer slowing down.
Ah, so if I have a lot of browser tabs open and I'm also watching a video and working on a document, I need more RAM?
Exactly. If you're a multitasker, you need more RAM. We measure RAM in gigabytes, or GB. For good performance, especially if you're doing serious work or gaming, we recommend at least 8 gigabytes of RAM, but 16 gigabytes is even better. Some high-end computers even have 32 gigabytes or more.
So, if my old laptop only has 4 gigabytes of RAM, that explains why it freezes every time I try to open more than 2 tabs. That would definitely be a major factor. Another crucial component is the hard drive, or storage. This is where all your files, documents, photos, and programs are permanently saved. Unlike RAM, which is temporary, your hard drive keeps everything even when you turn the computer off. Right? Like a long-term memory.
Yes, a great way to think about it. There are 2 main types of hard drives now. The traditional hard disk drive, or HDD, and the newer solid-state drive, or SSD. HDDs are cheaper and can store a lot of data, often terabytes, which is a lot of gigabytes. We'll talk about those prefixes in a bit, but they are slower.
And SSDs? I've heard those are faster.
You're absolutely right. SSDs are much faster because they don't have any moving parts. They load programs and open files almost instantly. They tend to be a bit more expensive per gigabyte, but the speed difference is very noticeable. For a powerful and fast laptop, an SSD is highly recommended. We measure storage capacity in gigabytes, or GB, or even terabytes, TB, for very large drives.
So for my new laptop, I should look for a good processor, plenty of RAM, and an SSD. Got it. What about the screen? I look at it all day.
Of course. The display or screen is very important. You'll want to consider the screen size, measured diagonally in inches, and the resolution. The resolution tells you how many pixels are on the screen, basically how clear and sharp the image will be. High resolution like Full HD, which is 1920 by 1080 pixels, or even 4K, gives you a much clearer picture.
And is there anything else I should know about for a powerful laptop?
Well, if you're planning to do things like video editing, graphic design, or gaming, you might want to look for a dedicated graphics card, also known as a GPU. This is a separate processor specifically for handling images and videos, taking the strain off the main CPU. But for general use, the integrated graphics built into the processor are usually fine.
Wow, this is a lot of information. Processor, RAM, SSD, display, graphics card.
It is. But understanding these core components helps you make an informed decision. Now, let's talk about software. Every computer needs an operating system, or OS. This is the main program that manages all the computer's hardware and software. The most common operating systems are Windows, Mac OS for Apple computers, and Linux.
And I assume it comes with the computer?
Yes, usually it does. And then, for your safety, you'll definitely want antivirus software. This program protects your computer from viruses, malware, and other harmful software that can steal your data or damage your system. It's like a shield for your computer.
A shield? That's a good way to put it. So, a virus is like a digital sickness for your computer?
Precisely. A computer virus is a type of malicious software that, when executed, replicates itself by modifying other computer programs and inserting its own code. It can mess things up big time. So, antivirus software is a must-have.
Okay, so what if something goes wrong? Is there a warranty?
Ah, the warranty. Yes, most new computers come with a warranty, which is a promise from the manufacturer to repair or replace the product if it has defects within a certain period, usually 1 year. It's like insurance for your new tech. You should always check the warranty details.
That's good to know. So let's review some of these words, listeners, because there were quite a few. Emily, could you help us out with that?
Absolutely, Brian. Let's recap some of the essential computer parts and terms we just covered.
Yes.
First, we had soleti. Remember, that's something no longer used or produced, out of date. Like my old phone, it's totally obsolete now.
Then, processor, also known as the CPU. This is the brain of the computer, handling all the calculations. The faster the processor, the faster your computer.
Next, RAM, or Random Access Memory. This is the short-term memory of the computer. More RAM means you can run more programs smoothly at the same time. Think of it as your computer's workspace.
And hard drive, or storage. This is where all your files and programs are permanently saved. We talked about 2 types, 8DD. For hard disk drive, which is older and slower, and SSD for solid-state drive, which is newer and much faster.
We also mentioned display, or screen, matsio, which is what you look at. Its clarity depends on its resolution, and for heavy-duty graphics, a hot graphics card, or GPU, is important.
For the software, we have the Alkheim operating system, or Yastoix do Essence. This is the main program that makes the computer work, like Windows or Mac OS.
And don't forget antivirus software, ZAT, which protects your computer from our viruses and other harmful programs. It's your computer's personal security guard.
And finally, the warranty, which is your guarantee from the manufacturer that they will fix or replace your computer if it breaks within a certain time.
Great recap, Brian. Now, before we move on, I want to talk about some useful prefixes that come up a lot in technology, especially when we talk about storage and memory. We mentioned gigabytes, terabytes, megabytes, kilobits, and so on.
Oh yes, those can be a bit confusing. How do they work?
Well, these prefixes are used to indicate quantities. Think of them like how we use kilo in kilogram or kilometer. In computing, the basic unit of information is a bit, which is either a 0 or a 1. A byte is a group of 8 bits. This is the smallest unit of data.
So a bit is tiny, and a byte is slightly less tiny.
Exactly. Now, when we add prefixes,
Kilo-year means 1,000. So a kilobyte hour year is about 1,000 bytes. Kilobits are 1,000 bits. You might see this for very small files or very old network speeds. Megabyte means 1,000,000. A megabyte is about 1,000,000 bytes. Images, small documents, or short audio files are often measured in megabytes. For example, a song might be 5 megabytes. Giga means 1,000,000,000. A gigabyte is about 1 billion bytes. This is very common. RAM is measured in gigabytes, and smaller SSDs are in gigabytes. For example, a movie might be 2 gigabytes. And finally, tera, means 1,000,000,000,000. A terabyte is about 1 trillion bytes. This is used for very large storage capacities like big hard drives. Most modern hard drives are in terabytes.
Wow, 1,000,000,000,000 bytes. That's a lot of photos and videos. So from smallest to largest, it's kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte.
You got it. And knowing these helps you understand specifications for phones, cameras, internet speeds, and of course, computers. When you see a phone with 128 gigabytes of storage, you know that's 128 gigabytes. If you see a hard drive that is 4 terabytes, that's 4 terabytes. That's huge.
That's super helpful, Emily. Thank you. It simplifies things a lot. So moving on from buying a computer, let's talk a little about the history of these incredible machines. It's a mini story that I think our listeners will find really interesting. Emily, why don't you start us off?
I'd love to, Brian. It's incredible to think how far we've come. Computers, as we know them today, are actually quite young. But the idea of a calculating machine is very old.
Really? How old are we talking? Stone Age?
Haha, not quite the Stone Age. But the first mechanical calculator was invented way back in 1642 by a French mathematician named Blaise Pascal. It could only do addition and subtraction. Very basic.
So that was a very, very early ancestor of the modern computer.
Absolutely. Then, in the 19th century, a British mathematician named Charles Babbage designed something called the analytical engine. It was never fully built, but his designs included many parts that are still found in modern computers, like a mill, which is like a CPU, and store, which is like memory. Because of this, Charles Babbage is often called the father of the computer.
The father of the computer. That's a title. So from mechanical calculators to theoretical engines. When did we get closer to what we use today?
Well, fast forward to the 20th century. During World War II, there was a huge need for faster calculations, especially for codes and missile trajectories. This pushed the development of electronic computers. One of the very first electronic digital computers was called ENIAC. It was built in the USA in 1945.
ENIAC. I've heard of that. It was enormous, right? Like a whole room?
Oh, it was massive. ENIAC weighed about 27 tons. That's like several elephants. And took up a huge room. It had 18,000 vacuum tubes, which are old electronic components. It used so much electricity that it would dim the lights in Philadelphia when it was switched on.
That's incredible. From a room-sized machine to the laptops we carry in our backpacks today. What a transformation. So after ENIAC, what happened next?
The invention of the transistor in 1947 was a huge breakthrough. Transistors were much smaller, faster, and more reliable than vacuum tubes. This led to the second generation of computers in the late 1950s and early 1960s, which were much smaller and more efficient.
So things started getting smaller and more powerful. That sounds like a pattern that continues even today.
It certainly does. The next big step was the integrated circuit, or microchip, invented in 1958. This allowed thousands of transistors to be put onto a single small chip. This made computers even smaller, faster, and cheaper. This led to the third generation of computers.
The microchip. That's a word we still use all the time. It really changed everything, didn't it?
Absolutely. And then in the 1970s, something truly revolutionary happened. The personal computer. Before this, computers were mainly for large businesses, universities, or governments. But people like Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs, the founders of Apple, and Bill Gates and Paul Allen, the founders of Microsoft, started making computers that ordinary people could own and use at home.
Ah, the legendary figures. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. They really brought computing to the masses.
Yes, Steve Wozniak, who often gets less attention, was the engineering genius behind the first Apple computers, while Steve Jobs was the visionary, focusing on design and marketing. They launched the Apple I in 1976 and the Apple II in 1977. At the same time, Bill Gates and Paul Allen founded Microsoft in 1975, initially focusing on developing software, specifically programming languages for these new personal computers.
So Apple focused on hardware and software, and Microsoft focused on software primarily.
That's right. Microsoft's big moment came when they developed the MS-DOS operating system, which later became the foundation for Windows. The first version of Windows was released in 1985, making computers much easier to use with a graphical interface instead of just text commands.
That's where the mouse came in, right? Before Windows, you had to type everything?
Precisely. Before graphical user interfaces, or GUIs, and the mouse, you had to type commands like C:/dir just to see your files. It was much more complicated. The mouse, popularized by Apple and then by Windows, made computers accessible to everyone.
What a journey! From a room-sized machine operated by experts to a small device that fits in our pocket, used by billions. It really shows how technology is constantly evolving. And speaking of evolving, that leads us perfectly into our next section, how we can use this amazing technology to improve our English learning.
Fantastic transition, Brian. This is one of my favorite topics. Technology has truly revolutionized language learning. Gone are the days when you needed a huge dictionary and expensive textbooks to learn a new language. Now, with just a smartphone or a computer, the world is your classroom.
The world is your classroom. I love that. So, Emily, what are some of your top recommendations for using tech to learn English? Where should our listeners start?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind for many learners is language learning apps. There are so many fantastic apps out there like Duolingo, Babbel, Memrise, and many more. These apps often use gamification, which means they make learning feel like a game, with points, levels, and streaks to keep you motivated.
Gamification, that's a cool word. So they make it fun and addictive in a good way.
Exactly. They help you practice vocabulary, grammar, and even pronunciation with bite-sized lessons that you can do anywhere, anytime. Another great tool for vocabulary is in digital flashcards. Apps like Anki or Quizlet allow you to create your own flashcards or use sets created by others. They use spaced repetition, which is a technique that shows you words just before you forget them, helping you memorize them more effectively.
Spaced repetition. That sounds very scientific and effective. I remember struggling with physical flashcards, losing them all the time. Digital ones are much better.
Oh, definitely. No more lost cards. Next, let's talk about mobile voice recording and pronunciation tools. Many apps now include voice recognition, allowing you to practice speaking and get feedback on your pronunciation. You can record yourself speaking a sentence and then listen back, comparing it to a native speaker. This is invaluable for improving your accent and fluency.
That's brilliant. I remember when I was learning Spanish, I would record myself and it was so embarrassing to listen back, but it really helped me hear my mistakes. Practice makes perfect, and technology helps us practice more effectively.
Absolutely. And speaking of speaking, chat platforms and language exchange apps are amazing. Websites and apps like Tandem or HelloTalk connect you with native English speakers who want to learn your language so you can help each other. It's a win-win situation. You can text, send voice messages, or even have video calls. This is real-life conversational practice.
That sounds a bit scary for some people, maybe, at first. But it's really the best way to get over your fear of speaking, isn't it? To just jump in.
It really is. It builds confidence. And you can start with text chat if you're shy. There's no pressure. Moving on, let's not forget the power of YouTube channels and podcasts, like ours. YouTube offers an incredible variety of English learning channels, from grammar lessons to real-life vlogs, that help you understand natural spoken English. And podcasts are perfect for listening practice on the go.
Yes, listening to native speakers in a natural conversation is key for improving your comprehension and getting used to different accents and speeds. And our podcast is perfect for that, of course.
Of course, for reading, online news articles and ebooks are excellent. You can use browser extensions that provide instant definitions when you click on a word you don't know. This makes reading authentic materials much less intimidating.
That's really smart. Instead of stopping to look up every word in a dictionary, you can just click and continue reading. Very efficient.
Very. And my personal tip, Brian, is to change the language settings on your phone, computer, and frequently used apps to English. It forces you to interact with the language in a practical way every single day. You learn common commands and phrases without even trying.
That's a fantastic tip, Emily. It's like immersion without leaving your house. I also recommend following English-speaking content creators on social media, especially those who talk about topics you're genuinely interested in. If you love cooking, follow English-speaking chefs. If you love gaming, follow gamers. This makes learning much more enjoyable and relevant.
That's a brilliant point, Brian. Learning should be enjoyable. And another thing I find super helpful is using online dictionaries with audio pronunciation. Websites like Cambridge Dictionary or Merriam-Webster not only give you definitions but also show you how to pronounce words. This is so important for improving your spoken English.
Yes, pronunciation can be tricky in English. So just to recap some of those tech tools for English learning, we have language learning apps, digital flashcards, voice recording and pronunciation tools, chat platforms and language exchange apps, YouTube channels and podcasts, online news and ebooks, and changing your device language settings.
And don't forget using online dictionaries with audio. That's a lot of tools available at your fingertips, many of them free or very affordable. The key is to find what works best for you and to use them consistently.
Consistency is key. Even 15 to 20 minutes a day can make a huge difference over time. So speaking of the future and how technology keeps changing, let's move on to our next big topic, artificial intelligence and the future of technology. This is something that everyone is talking about these days.
It certainly is, Brian. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is no longer just science fiction. It's becoming a part of our daily lives. So, what exactly is AI? Simply put, AI is when computers or machines can perform tasks that usually require human intelligence. This includes things like understanding language, recognizing images, making decisions, and even learning from data.
So it's like giving machines a brain, but a digital one.
Exactly. A digital brain that can learn. Think about your smartphone. When you use a virtual assistant like Siri or Google Assistant, you're using AI. You ask it a question, and it understands your voice, processes the request, and gives you an answer or performs an action. That's a simple form of AI in action.
Virtual assistant. That's a good term to remember. It's a software agent that can perform tasks or services for an individual based on commands or questions. I use mine all the time for setting alarms or checking the weather.
Me too. And AI is also behind things like recommendation systems on streaming services. When Netflix suggests a movie you might like, or Amazon recommends products, that's AI analyzing your past choices and predicting what you'll enjoy.
It's kind of spooky sometimes how accurate they are. Like they know what I want before I even do.
Ha! Yes, it can feel that way. Another area where AI is rapidly growing is automation. Automation means using technology to perform tasks automatically, without human intervention. This could be anything from robots on a factory floor assembling cars to software that automatically answers customer service emails.
So, automation is about machines doing repetitive jobs, making things faster and more efficient.
Exactly. And this leads to discussions about wakmalai, smart homes. These are homes equipped with devices that can be controlled remotely or automatically. Think smart thermostats that adjust the temperature based on your schedule, smart lights that turn on when you enter a room, or smart doorbells that let you see who's at your front door even when you're not home.
Smart homes sound very convenient. And what about wearable tech, like smartwatches?
Yes. Wearable tech is another big trend. These are electronic devices that can be worn on the body, like smartwatches that track your fitness, monitor your heart rate, or even let you make calls and send messages. Some companies are even developing smart glasses that can overlay digital information onto your view of the real world.
Wow, smart glasses sound like something out of a futuristic movie, like Iron Man. What are some of the other implications of AI and smart technology?
Well, with all this data being collected by smart devices and AI systems, one major concern is data privacy. This refers to how personal information is collected, stored, and used. It's about protecting your private data from being misused or accessed by unauthorized people.
That's a very important point. We give a lot of our information to these devices and companies, so we need to trust them to keep it safe.
Absolutely. And then there's the big question about the future of work. As AI and automation advance, some jobs might change or even disappear, while new ones will be created. It's an alboy, ever-changing Celtic landscape. That phrase, ever-changing, means continuously changing or developing. Technology is always moving forward.
Ever-changing. That really describes the tech world perfectly. It's never standing still. So we have AI, virtual assistants, automation, smart homes, wearable tech, smart glasses, and the important topic of data privacy. It's a lot to think about.
It really is. And for English learners, understanding these terms is becoming more and more crucial because they are so common in everyday conversation and news. So, now that we've explored all these exciting tech concepts, let's work on building your fluency with some key expressions and verbs related to technology.
Perfect. This is where we practice using these words naturally in sentences. We'll go through some common tech verbs, idioms, and useful phrases. Listeners, try to repeat after us, or at least mentally practice using these phrases in your own sentences.
Let's start with some common tech verbs. We used a few earlier.
First up, to crash. When a computer program or the entire system stops working suddenly, we say it crashes.
Example, my browser crashed and I lost all my work.
My computer crashed right in the middle of a big presentation.
Repeat after us. My browser crashed.
Next, to freeze. This means the computer or program stops responding to commands. It's stuck. Example, the screen froze and I couldn't click anything.
My app always freezes when I try to upload photos.
Repeat, the screen froze.
Then, to download. This means to copy data from one computer system to another, typically over the internet. Example, I need to download the latest software update.
Did you download that new movie yet?
Repeat, I need to download.
And the opposite, to upload. This means to copy data from your computer to another system, usually to the internet. Example, I need to upload these photos to the cloud.
She uploaded her video to YouTube.
Repeat, I need to upload.
Next, to reboot or sests to restart. This means to turn a computer off and then on again, usually to fix a problem or apply an update. Example, if your Wi-Fi isn't working, try to reboot the modem.
Have you tried rebooting your computer? It often fixes small glitches.
Repeat, try to reboot.
Another one is to upgrade. This means to replace something with a newer or better version. Example, I decided to upgrade my phone to the latest model.
You should upgrade your RAM if you want your computer to run faster.
Repeat, to upgrade my phone.
And the opposite kind of, you downgrade. This means to go back to an older version of software or hardware. It's less common, but sometimes people do it if a new version has problems. Example, the new update caused problems, so I had to downgrade to the previous version.
Repeat, I had to downgrade. Let's talk about some useful expressions and idioms. First, top of the line. This means the best or highest quality available. Example, this laptop is top of the line. It has all the newest features.
If you want the best performance, you need a top-of-the-line graphics card.
Repeat, top of the line.
Next, I have no idea. This is a very common way to say you don't know something especially about technology. Example, how do I fix this Wi-Fi issue? I have no idea.
What does this button do? I have no idea.
Repeat, I have no idea.
How about, I know where this is going? This means you can guess the likely outcome or direction of something, often used when you anticipate a problem or a familiar situation. Example, my old laptop is making a weird noise. Oh no, I know where this is going. I'll need a new one soon.
The printer lights are blinking again. I know where this is going. Another hour of troubleshooting.
Repeat, I know where this is going.
Then there's our recessed to be glued to the screen. This means to be looking at a screen, phone, TV, computer for a very long time without moving. Example, my kids are always glued to their screens these days.
I was so busy with work, I was glued to my computer screen all day.
Repeat, glued to the screen.
And finally, to be tech-savvy. This describes someone who is very knowledgeable and skillful with technology. Example, my little sister is so tech-savvy she can fix anything.
Oh yeah.
Brian is pretty tech-savvy, but even he struggles with printers.
Repeat, tech-savvy.
Excellent. Practice those phrases, listeners. Using them will make your English sound much more natural and fluent when you're talking about technology.
That's true. It's not just about knowing the words, but knowing how to use them in conversation. So we've covered a lot today, from hardware to software, history, learning tools, and the future.
It's been a jam-packed episode. We really hope you've picked up some valuable vocabulary and tips. And now it's time for our listener challenge and a quick quiz.
Yes, we want to hear from you. For today's listener challenge, we encourage you to write or record a short sentence using at least 2 of the vocabulary words or expressions you learned today. For example, you could say, my old phone is obsolete, so I need to upgrade to a new one with more gigabytes of storage.
Or, I need to download an antivirus program because my computer keeps freezing. Be creative. You can share your sentences in the comments section on our website or social media. We love to see your progress. And now, a quick mini quiz to test your memory. Don't worry, it's not too hard. Just fill in the blank. Question 1. The SYK is often called the brain of the computer. Is it the RAM, the processor, or the hard drive?
The answer is the processor, the CPU.
Question 2. If your computer stops responding and won't move, you could say it, ri. Does it crash, freeze, or upload?
The answer is, it freezes. It might also crash if it completely shuts down. But freeze is when it stops responding.
Question 3. Which type of storage is much faster, an HDD or an TUWAMANT?
The answer is an SSD, solid-state drive.
And last one, question 4. What does AI stand for?
AI stands for artificial intelligence.
How did you do? We hope you got them all right. Even if you didn't, don't worry. The important thing is that you're listening, learning, and trying.
Exactly. Learning is a journey, not a race. You're doing great just by being here and putting in the effort.
So that brings us to the end of another episode of the English podcast for listening and speaking. We've had a fantastic time talking about technology and computers today. It's such a huge and fascinating topic.
It really is. And remember, technology can be an incredible tool for your English learning. Use those apps, watch those YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, and don't be afraid to try out those language exchange platforms.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate your support and your dedication to learning English. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes.
And for our next episode, we're going to be talking about learning English through travel and adventure. So, get ready to pack your imaginary bags.
That sounds like a lot of fun, Brian. We'll be sharing stories and vocabulary related to exploring new places and having exciting adventures, all while practicing your English.
We can't wait to share that with you. Until then, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep embracing the world of technology.
Bye for now, everyone.
See you next time.